that you saw on that bridge. You saw a diversity. You saw a diversity of gender. You saw a diversity of races. You saw a diversity of, species, even now. And even with the different colors of uniform, you realize you took it in maybe subconsciously that there were different areas of thought represented. Some people had come up in a science background, some had come up in an engineering background, and they were all working together to make something happen. And I loved seeing that too in later episodes when you see, Beverly Crusher as a captain, that you can come from all these disciplines.
Special thanks to our Patreon executive producer, Jonathan Capps, and our Patreon associate producers, Chris Knapp and Mark Zutkoff. Your leadership support helps keep the Transporter Room running at warp speed. And to all of our Patreon members at every level, we truly appreciate you. Your support helps power every episode, interview, and away mission. We couldn't do this without you. I would like to wish a happy birthday to our associate producer, Chris Knapp, on March 24th. Happy birthday, Chris. I hope you have a good one. Greetings, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Garis, joined today by my co-host, Allyson Leach-Heid, and welcome to the Transporter Room. We are absolutely thrilled to introduce the immensely talented and captivating actress, Yetide Badaki. Fans around the world know her for her groundbreaking and deeply emotional performance as Bilquis in the hit Star series American Gods. Yetide has made a memorable entry into the Star Trek universe, starring as the brilliant lawyer Neera Ketoul in the critically acclaimed series Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Yetide's career is marked by her powerful ability to bring complex, mythical, and deeply human characters to life on screen. Beyond her iconic roles, she has also been recognized for her advocacy work and for her contributions to elevating diverse voices in storytelling. Now let's beam in Yetide. Thank you for coming on here tonight. This is going to be a great discussion. I am so looking forward to this one. I hope you've had a great day.
I've had a fantastic day, and I think, as you all know, there's no better day for me than talking about some Star Trek. So thank you for having me.
So excited.
Yes, I am too. And honestly, as I said earlier, this is going to be a little bit different discussion than what we normally do, but it's going to be a very good discussion today. And so, but honestly, before we dive into the main topic for tonight, I just like to ask about your journey into acting and how did you get to where we're able to talk about this tonight?
Oh, wow. How long do you all have again for this?
The longest discussion that we've ever had was 2 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm not going to take it that far.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a long-seated thing. I think most viewers know and listeners know that I was born in Nigeria. I grew up there. I have a very large family, and that meant that we had a lot of family often traveling through. And the power would go out a lot in Nigeria then. And though we had a generator, my parents would take that as a moment to kind of slow down and take a minute. So we'd go out into the back, we'd start a fire, and the elders would start telling stories. And I just remember feeling that was so magical. As a kid, not really having the words for what that is, but I just knew I wanted to do that. And that's where my obsession, my love for stories started, and the understanding that they could teach us about our past, show us where we are in our present, and where we could be in the future. So fast forward, I auditioned for my first school play, Peter Pan, by the way, got the part, one of the Lost Boys. But that first audition of going up on a stage and opening up to speak to an audience and having that recognition of, this is that thing by the fire is right here. And so over the years, I went to grad school, did the whole, Shakespeare Festival moment, Chicago theater, and then made the Actors Mecca to LA.
Mm.
And my love of reading came well, it always comes in handy. But when the role of Bilquis then came up, I had already read the books. I had already learned about what kind of world that all embodied, and again, it was just right back there to the fire, and that moment by the fire in that audition, and that changed everything for me, performance
Mm.
wise.
Awesome.
That's
That's
so.
amazing. What a wonderful way to find your way into acting.
Hmm.
That's truly amazing.
Yeah.
You're all
Yeah.
aligned.
Wow. It reminds me a little bit of just a little bit like Sirach, some of how his stories that he's told us,
Mhm.
Sirach Lofton,
Mhm.
and it's the, both of y'all have some amazing stories so far. But what we really want to talk about tonight, and it's actually a topic I've thought about for a while and just really hadn't had anyone to discuss it, but
Right.
is, you know, we wanted to start talking about Gene's vision and
Mhm.
focus on the heart and core of Star Trek and what it
Right.
means, and honestly, I'd like to know what it means to you, and then between for myself and Allison as well. But we'll start with you because you're the guest.
You're very kind. I'll try and keep the answers contained, because
Can be hard.
I'm poetic about Star Trek.
Mm,
But yeah, that this all started for me, and that this was also back in Nigeria. It was around the first time I remember we'd gotten, I think the channel was Sky or something like that, and Star Trek Next Generation comes on. And oh my goodness, did I fall in love? I was just blown away, yes, by this incredible world. And there were several things that hit me that I only realized later. One was this was one of the first times I was seeing a future where it was positive for the most part, where
Yes.
we had outgrown a lot of our worst ways, and there were whole speeches about that. um, and two, there was, and this is, why something is that seemed just so small as a detail as a costume made a big difference to me is that you saw on that bridge, you saw a diversity. You saw a diversity of gender. You saw a diversity of races. You saw a diversity of, species,
hmm
even now. And even with the different colors of uniform, you realize you took it in maybe subconsciously that there were different areas of thought represented.
hmm
Some people had come up in a science background, some had come up in an engineering background, and they were all working together to make something happen. And I loved seeing that too in later episodes when you see, Beverly Crusher as a captain. That you can come from all these disciplines, and you can lead in from whatever discipline you started with. um, but the thing that really, really got me, apart from the theme, the idea that we as humanity could get better, was the way in which these individuals went through different trials, through different things, different issues. And it was never that the other person or the individual was the problem. It was that they were just working to be better and do better. And they made mistakes and they stumbled and they would readily admit it. And they modeled for this young child in Nigeria where, yes, you can make mistakes, you can own those mistakes, and you can move forward. So I said I was going to keep this contained, but
Let it go. Just say it.
But this was my entry into this world, and Star Trek really, from it took me a long time to really understand how much it influenced, or actually how much it actually shaped my worldview as it is today.
Mm, wow. That's so powerful. Allison, what about you?
Yeah.
So I will mirror a lot of what you said as well. It is something that I too found as a small child with my mom, and it was a way for me to get out of taking a nap. Next Generation was on, and if I laid down on the couch, I didn't have to go take a nap. I
Mm-hmm.
just had to sit and be quiet or still for a little bit. So I kind of fell in love with Next Gen that way. And the original series movies were all happening at that time too. So I, got to fall in love with our original crew that way.
Mm.
And also, I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan too, but the difference between the two is that there is hope and that everything can be, we go for being better in the Star
Mm.
Trek universe, which as a child, we all want that. And as
Mm-hmm.
an adult, I really want that. And as a parent, I really want that
Mm.
for my kids. Like I want us to be better. And watching these characters, make mistakes, stumble, and go, I did wrong. I can do better. And they get to do that. And we can still love them, even though they have made mistakes, is wonderful because we all do. We all make mistakes and we all want to be better. Okay. 95% of the world is that way.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there are some who don't,
Yeah.
but that's okay. That's who they are. That's not who draws Star Trek fans. And also seeing the diversity as a kid from North Dakota, we didn't have a lot of diversity just because they weren't there. It was a small populated state, especially in the 80s. We were the least populated state in the United States, so there weren't a lot of people. So just seeing all the different people was wonderful. It was eye opening for me
Mm-hmm.
because I was from a area of the country that looked a lot like me and then had Native Americans as well, because that's who settled there and were there when the settling happened in good and bad ways. And so it was wonderful just to have that experience of this is what people look like, and they're all working together and value each other, and it was a great way to be raised of like this is the ideal of what we should work for every day.
Yeah. Well, and I will echo most everything that both of you have just said, but because as well, I live in a smaller town in Texas, in South Texas, and so I actually I think Star Wars was my first, sci-fi to see, then followed by The Wrath of Khan. And then TNG. I had actually never seen TOS by the time TNG came out. I'd heard about it. I may have seen an episode here or there, but it just did not, really interest me because I was like, the graphics are just so not cool, compared to what we were seeing in Next Gen. But, so I did start watching Next Gen from the beginning, from start to finish. And, one thing about what Star Trek is, initially for me was about, all the science and like the cool technology that, we can, transport beam, go warp drive and with the medicine, like, oh my God, several years, oh, about 4 years ago, the scene in Star Trek for the Voyage Home, like I literally remember sitting at the office and the scene when, Dr. McCool, when he talks about dialysis and he's like, just like, oh my God, dialysis, here, take this, and gives her that pill. And, doctor gave me a pill and I grew a new kidney. And that, well, in a good and bad way, that scene stuck in my head because right at that time, my mother had started having kidney failure and was having to go through dialysis. And I'm like, oh my God, if we just had doctor give me a pill and grew a new kidney, she wouldn't have had to gone through all that. And so that really, like, the technology is what really has always, driven me. But now, as I've started doing this, I have picked up even more of the stories that I just never, as a teenager, I was 86, 87, 87 count, I was 11. So, by the time it was over, I was 17, 18. Yes, 18.
Mm.
So I wasn't picking up on the subtle storylines that were in there. But now, as being a member with the Seventh Roll and some other channels and doing this channel and going
Mm.
back and reviewing these episodes and rewatching them through, the 49-year-old's eyes,
Mm.
I'm like, oh my God, that's what they're talking about. I just, and I've said that more than once, and a lot of us have during our reviews, that like, oh, Dave was trying to say that, and I remember there was the episode of TNG that we were reviewing. Oh my God, Allison, you have to help me with the name. The first time we meet the Trill, with Beverly.
Oh, oh, I completely lost it. The
Yeah.
name of that one. But yes, I know which episode you're talking
This is
about.
gonna keep me awake at night. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
Anyway, we'll have to look it up here in a second. But she, you know, is in a relationship with the male chain. I'm not changing the male Trill, and then at the end of the episode, the symbiont is put into a female. And after it was the
Mhm.
very end, I was like, and her speech, and I was like, oh, now I see what she's talking about. And it just hit me. And that was just
That
one.
was the host, right? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it was.
That would have been season 5.
Four, season 4, episode "The Host."
The
Yes.
host. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ah,
But it was,
Good job.
thank you. Thank you. But it was the third time I was watching it. And we were almost getting ready to do it. I was watching it. And I was like, oh, that's when I realized what she was saying.
yeah,
And so, and then you get
Well,
into
because it
DS.
wasn't allowed on TV at the time.
Correct.
that,
Exactly.
So they couldn't do that even if they had wanted to. It wouldn't have gotten past what standards and practices. Is that what it was called?
Mm-hmm.
Or still called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
Well, sorry. Please go ahead.
anyway, and so that, and then when you start watching TOS, you see, oh, I mean, some of that has not aged well, but but as we've already said, but then you see, I mean, as we have another host on this channel, and her and I recently watched for our Patreons, Women in Motion. Women in
Mm,
Motion with Nichelle Nichols.
mm.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't, but it's been high on the list because anything Michelle Nichols, yes, I believe
Highly
icon.
recommend it. I did not know. And it's funny, I had said that with Linda. I was like, I never knew what Nichelle did after she was done with
Mm,
TOS.
mm.
Oh, you watch that documentary, you find out what she did.
Wow.
It was
She changed the face of NASA is
she
what she
did.
did. And that is amazing.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing. And so again, it's going and watching these documentaries like that, it's just made me realize, how important how important it was for her to be on that series.
Absolutely.
She has made that very clear. And when, her idol, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King was like, you can't quit. That's not an
Yeah.
option. It was
Yeah.
just, oh my God. Yeah, it's been amazing to see for me, what Star Trek has tried to do and say.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't want to keep on rambling on because I want to hear y'all's I want to hear y'all's rambles,
We love it though. We love it. It's so wonderful to see how it inspires all of you. First off, thank you for sharing.
Hmm.
It's amazing to hear, and to hear that. I think for all of us here, the first one was Next Generation, right?
Probably.
Next Gen
It
was
was
our
the one
own.
I watched the episodes of, yeah, because I watched the
Right.
movies. I was older. I was still a child, but I started renting
Mm,
VHSs of the
mm,
original series and watching those on the weekends.
yeah.
And so, and I got to start that one with the cage, and the
Hmm.
menagerie
Yeah.
and going about it that way. I'm like, why are these 3 episodes? Because I had so where I was renting these videos was a little local movie rental shop in Incline Village in Nevada.
Okay.
And Leonard Nimoy lived in Incline Village in Nevada. And so they had the weirdest mix of original series episodes to watch. And
Yeah.
a lot of them he was highly featured in. So I think that's
Yeah.
kind of funny. They just didn't have every episode. But I'm like,
Hmm.
why are these 3 episodes so the same? And then, figuring it out later. But I didn't watch every episode of the original
Mm,
series actually until a couple of years ago because
yeah.
the music puts me to sleep
Oh,
because it's so calming
Hmm.
or repetitive too because they use the
yeah.
same themes a lot in episodes, so it music will put me to sleep faster than anything else.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I mean, original series is completely a product of its time, but it truly does show us Gene's vision of what he wanted for the future. And some of it, how women are seen is not as great as it could be, but he did what he could.
Hmm.
He still had women in command roles. I mean, Uhura was third in command,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. And he tried. I mean, we had Una. You
Yeah.
know, this is where we first got introduced to her character was in these episodes. Like he wanted to have a woman
Yeah.
be someone in command and to
Yeah.
be respected and listened to. And I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but like obey, like, your commanding officer tells you to do something, you got to go do it. And so putting a woman there is an amazing thing for, the
Mm,
late 60s, mid to late 60s. So,
mhm.
and and I think that's what I love about Strange New Worlds is that it kind of gets to go, okay, here's like where it started. We get to
Hmm.
take these characters and show you what couldn't be shown on
Hmm.
Mhm.
TV at the time, and here are more of their stories
Yeah.
and what they got to go through and came from. And the I think Una is one of the ones that is getting like the best
Mhm.
experience of we get to know more about her because she's in 3 episodes, 2.5. It's hard to say how you want to count the cage and menagerie part 1 and 2. Like, how do we talk about that? But getting to experience these characters that we just saw little visions of, Chapel and Mbanga,
Hmm.
and what they meant in the 60s was, again, more diversity, more characters that we got to explore. And then now we're all like hungry for more stories, and Strange New Worlds gets to give us that.
Hmm.
It's really cool to like go through that experience of this is the idea Gene had, and this is us running with it,
Right.
60 years later. Like, how can we expand on this, like specifically from his vision and not
Yeah.
just, Next Generation, Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine, Voyager, but we're literally starting with his vision, his first episode, and
Mm.
going from there, which he got to change how he explored. So I think that is a really cool thing we're experiencing right now in the Star Trek universe.
Wow, very cool. I mean, I think it's interesting that you brought up that there were so many concepts that were wanting to be explored but couldn't explicitly be explored at that
Hmm.
time. And you're going to have to bear with me for a moment as I jump within the sci-fi world and talk about recently reading something about Twilight Zone.
Yes.
um, right? And the whole thing of how Rod, another, was a playwright who wrote social justice stories and wanted to get social justice stories on the screen, but they didn't. They weren't passing the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we just threw in a little twist of sci-fi, horror, fantasy, and all of
Mhm.
a sudden we have the iconic Twilight Zone, and we're getting all of those issues in there. And I very much feel like we see that, and we saw that in Star Trek.
Hmm.
Uh, saw that they were taking on some of the most intensive issues of the time, and didn't shy away from them.
Yeah.
Use the
Yeah.
sci-fi veil
Mhm.
to
Hmm.
be able to get it past the board, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
And beyond the board, perhaps individuals that may have not heard or listened to that story in any
Mhm.
other form, it got it passed to them and
Hmm.
into their hearts and their souls. And so I think it's so deeply important that this Star Trek universe holds on to that and
Yeah.
keeps moving forward with that, with not being afraid to face and deal with the issues at hand.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just here thinking about it. I mean, think about this. On top of all of this, it was a woman, Lucille Ball, who
Yes.
said, "We're gonna do this." She stood up to her board and said, "We're doing it."
Yep.
Period, and made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, completely redoing a pilot is unheard of, especially at that time, and the amount of
Yes.
money she put in, like, she paid for, like, the redo, as it
Right.
were. Like, she's like, "No, I'll do this out of my pocket because I believe in this." She
Yeah.
championed this, and yeah,
She saw
it
the vision,
she
right?
did.
The
Yes.
vision, and that vision lives on. And I'm always so excited whenever I see a new piece of that space blossom and you continue to see that vision unfold.
Hmm.
Because, well, there's a reason it has stood the test of time for so long. It's very needed, it's very
Yeah.
necessary.
It is very needed and
Hmm.
very necessary. Agreed. Well,
Absolutely.
let's jump in, like, specifically to your episode. And
Yes.
I truly think of Ad Astra Per Astra as your episode. Like, you are the star of this episode.
I
You command the screen. You
a bunch of amazing people.
Yes, exactly. And that helps. No,
Yes.
exactly. You get to
Uh-oh.
I reap the true talent that is behind that, and you get to be like the focal point of it for that
Hmm.
episode. And it is truly amazing. And I really, there's so many things that I love about this episode. First, we're going to do my funny one. Your costumes are the most amazing in Star Trek that have, like, ever happened. I want all
Bernadette
of them.
Croft. That's a Bernadette Croft shout out. She is a visionary. She is
Yeah.
incredible. Everything she does with costumes is just gold.
Yes. Completely agree. I mean, as soon as you come on that screen, letting Pike breathe air that he can breathe in that red power suit with that amazing collar, I'm like, oh, I know who this character is. Like,
Hmm.
she is in command of herself and she knows all that is happening around her.
I
And
loved that. I loved how you left little nuggets for him to, like, he thought he was giving you information and you're like, I already know. You're like, I just like, you're like, no, I keep, and I liked it. Mr. Pike, I think it was, I was like, he was not captain. And I honestly, I do wonder, obviously she knew, but I was curious, like, does she not realize he's the captain of the Enterprise, or what was
She knows
that?
exactly who she knows exactly who that is, but this is not his jurisdiction, is it?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, and I didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't catch that the first time I watched it. But when
Yeah.
I was watching it to get ready for our discussion today, I was like, oh, she's letting him realize he's not in charge.
yeah,
Mhm.
This is her domain and he is coming into it.
Well,
I was like, oh, damn.
I love that it was written with basalt too, or basalt. I always say basalt because I'd studied geology. Basalt, because you called him Mister all the time.
mhm.
It in that script. I'm like, oh, digging the admiral of. I'm like, that's amazing. I love this. Kept calling him Mister, but when your character not decided, but turned around to show respect, that's when you gave them their ranks at the end. And I thought that was beautifully done. The way this episode is written is
Dana Horgan, that's the writer.
Mhm.
She, I mean, Dana Horgan is brilliant. I am forever indebted. The minute I picked up a script and read the way those words were put together, they're all so intentional. Every moment is perfectly placed,
yes.
Down to every detail that you're seeing, Mr. versus giving rank.
Mhm.
Um, Beautifully written by Dana Horgan. So that's another shout out there.
Oh yes, well deserved.
Mhm.
There, I every time I watch this episode, I bawl. Like it just tears stream down my face. There's nothing I can do. So many times
Mhm.
because one, the story, especially right now, is very topical,
Oh.
and the way everyone comes at this story is so well written, well
Mhm.
thought out, and well acted, and beautifully shot on the screen. There's so many times looking while watching that you're like, oh, this is very intentional. Well, I mean, it's always very intentional, but we're I during Una's testimony, she's looking at your character the entire time. She never looks at the judges because and I love this. I noticed that this time around. I'm like, oh, she never looks at the judges. She is looking at her friend. She's talking
Mhm.
to her friend who she loves and cares about, saying, this is why I did this. I thought that
Mhm.
was completely just beautiful to notice. And how that was carried through really shows where this was important to her personally, not for her career. She's talking to her friend, like, this is why I chose this. This is why I did this.
Mhm.
And so all the looks that are edited between the two of you are like speak volumes and more stories behind it that we don't get aren't spoken. And
Mhm.
I think this episode is very, very well done.
And that's another person I have to say I can't help it because it is such a fantastic group, truly from top to bottom. And every moment was thought out like this,
Yeah.
from nails to makeup to all
Yeah.
of it was thought about. And Valerie Weiss, the director,
Mhm.
Mhm.
was monumental in making all of this happen. Herself used to be a scientist. I don't know if
Oh,
most people
I
know that
didn't know that.
she made a jump from science to making TV, film and TV. And it's interesting to hear her speak about it and the ways that that actually also comes into the work as well. There's a precision within it all that's just stunning. So I have to say, absolutely, Valerie Weiss. And it, but beyond all that, and thank you for the kind words. Really, really, it means a lot. Um, it was just for me. It felt like quintessential Star Trek.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
minute I read that script, and at first I didn't get to see it. They said, they literally just said me, okay, this is a character, um, that's you'll love it, I promise. And I mean, listen, I was like, you had me at Star Trek. But if we're going further into this, the casting, they know me so well and they're so brilliant. Because they had also cast me as Bilquis in American Gods,
Mhm.
and so they didn't even have me read for this or anything. They just said, "Hey, you
Oh.
know, yeah."
Dramatic performance. Love it.
um, I'm forever grateful. And it was just, from those moments, from reading it to getting up on there. And I was such a geek when I walked in because they're like, well, this moment is like this and this and this. I'm like, do you mean like Measure of a Man from Next Generation? And they went, oh, wow, she's really a geek, isn't she?
Mhm.
But I saw those moments there too. Measure of a Man, so much came up.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes. Oh yes. I mean,
Yeah.
another powerful episode, and with lawyers. I mean,
Yes.
I guess fake lawyers because it's Riker and Picard, but
Yeah.
they're acting as lawyers.
yeah.
Um,
Well, but
Sorry.
because they're
and
trying to decide, obviously Data if he's
yeah,
property or
An
sentient,
individual.
basically an
Oh,
Yeah.
individual. And but so I mean, uh,
That scene with Whoopi and Stuart in and
yes.
Forward talking about disposable being
Oh,
is
goodness.
it hits because she's the one who got to say this because there are
Exactly what,
experiences
yeah.
exactly. And so no one else could say that to, Picard. It has to be Guinan. And, as, a kid, you're just going, yeah, no one is disposable. Like it
mhm.
truly does teach us, however, whatever age we're at, where we should be, where we're striving to be. And we can take a little bit and do that today. And I think Measure of a Man got to do that. And Astra Per Aspera got to do that. And there are many other Star Trek episodes that get to do that. But these two
Mhm.
are they're sisters in a way.
Mm.
Well, and there was, and that was that season 5 or season? Well, shoot, I'm trying
Measure
to
of
remember.
Measure of a Man, season 1.
Yeah,
yeah.
no, the one I'm
Two.
trying to think about is we reviewed it. Oh my gosh, um, not with David. I think it's season 6. When basically Picard gets put on trial with the Romulan, the oh my gosh, the Romulan. It's almost the same thing. He lied about his
Oh, yes.
It
Yes.
was something from his ensign days that comes
yes,
back.
yes. He lied. He was a Romulan pretending to be a Vulcan.
Yep.
Was that
Yes.
season 5? Because I know we reviewed it. It's not the game, not unification, not matter of time. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we will find this. We will find this.
Yes.
But
I
those are my favorite. The courtroom cases to me are. I mean, if you think about it, the first episode of Next Gen,
It's courtroom.
yeah, it's a courtroom,
And
right?
Q
For all
puts
humanity.
humanity on trial.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, oh my God, Drumhead.
There you go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. When she comes in and is trying to find fault that's not there. She is making up the admiral is making up stuff and trying to accuse them of like, well, you're hiding everything, but no, she's not.
Mhm.
And when his speech about, once that first link breaks in the chain, that's a memorable
Mm.
speech for Picard, and it's so
Yeah.
true. I mean, and something in here, and I had my notes earlier, but when we were talking like with this episode, you know, Una's speech about growing up, and it's hard to say this, but is very eerily what we're seeing today. People
Mhm.
were afraid to talk about what they are. Every
Yeah.
aspect, everything that she said in that speech about growing up as a child, being afraid to let them know who they were, what they were.
Yeah.
Again, this came out in 2023. So
Mhm.
we were having issues, but as I watched it again now, I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is like watching the news
Yeah.
right this minute.
Right this minute.
And I was like,
Because
Right.
we have people who are scared to go to school,
Yeah.
scared
yes.
to go to the hospital if they need help. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, this episode definitely hits harder now.
Mm-hmm. All
Uh-huh.
of those different elements, and that's why I think it's even more necessary for people to experience it now, because again, that was the genius of Star Trek. It always focused on the problem, not the other as opposition,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, what is it they say when you're having an argument with a partner, that you're fighting the problem and you're not fighting each other.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
And for whatever reason, some individuals are going along with things that are not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's be frank, they're not okay.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of storytelling behind it, all kinds of narrative behind it, and I feel also that some people are just, for whatever reason, getting stuck in a mental space that they can't see beyond to the humanity of
Yeah.
the individual in front of them, next to them, the person being taken away. And that's where I think that we can help in story, because you can watch something like this. And as much as Neera can be very caustic towards the Federation and all of that, at the end of the day, what she's mad at is the problem,
Yeah.
is the
Yes.
issue that is not being seen and is not being addressed. And you're so right. This is mirroring all of this today. And I'm glad that you all are talking about it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that, that there are a lot more eyes opening up. I'm glad that people are finding more ways to express their distaste with what is occurring. And something is building, and we need more. And we
Yeah.
need more of it. And we need more Neeras and Unas and all the brave, courageous souls out there, and those people on the Federation that finally made the right,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
decisions. We need all of that in this
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
The I would say if I had, and y'all may or may not agree, the only thing I have gripe I would have, or nitpick, I'm gonna say nitpick, not a gripe, nitpick was, and it still is this. If we watch Star Trek,
Yeah.
they still, even as of the time of TNG, they
Yeah.
still do not understand. They're so afraid of genetic manipulation that even by the 24th century,
We still have.
they still have it. I mean, look at Dr. Bashir. When they
Yeah.
found out he had been genetically modified,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was not his decision. Just like
Right.
Una, it was not her decision. She was for them, it was cultural.
Right.
Julian's
Right.
was because his parents made a decision on his behalf to,
Right.
I would say, maybe what they thought was fix an issue that probably really wasn't. But again,
Yeah.
that was their decision, not his.
Yeah.
So why? I mean, so and as they said in this episode, basically, they were. I think Admiral April said, if I remember correctly, but
Yeah.
the eugenic
Following.
wars were so bad that we are, the Federation Starfleet was still, we just that's they're still too scared.
Mhm.
Mm, mm,
That's what I picked up, and that's what I have tied connected the dots, that even with what happened, unfortunately,
yeah.
and even Una says that, I think this was a technicality.
Yeah.
Mhm,
The
mhm.
Starfleet and the Federation still did not own up to the fact that what they're doing is really
Mhm.
not right. They should accept her
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Not a.
Julian.
You're so right. But that's also the brilliance of Dana,
Mhm.
writing and fitting it into the universe, and
Oh yeah.
as it stood, right. If it had been completely overturned and everything, then we all know we'd be saying,
Yes.
wait a minute. But in the next couple of centuries, it's still an issue. So how did that work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant to do
Yes.
it
Yes.
that. You're so right, though. And one thing that I did love about this, and I kept joking around and actually saying to other people, like, I would watch this show because I really felt like a legal Star Trek show was something that was very interesting. And more so because it made me think of the question of, how do you maintain or keep a utopia,
Mm-hmm.
right? You need outside fresh eyes to come in and question everything, because
Mm-hmm.
there are so many things then that you start to take as, oh well, this is just the way it's been, and oh well, this is the way we're doing it. And I just could very much see a Neera traveling around, going, looking at different cases, going, hey, Federation, here are more cracks in your foundation here. Check this.
Oh,
You want to check this out.
she
But
did. Oh my God, she was her.
right?
I. Mm, we're gonna
The
get into it
fact
now.
that she had 10 cases that,
Yes,
she'd already
good.
put
Thank
forward.
you. That's what I was
I
going to talk about. She
I
Right,
freaking
love
came
that.
after
Like, she's
April.
already poking at
right.
the bear. Like, come on, come on, come on. You could be better. You could be better.
Mm-hmm.
You say
Better.
you're the like a utopia and you don't discriminate against anyone. Here
Right.
are what I'm coming at you with and how you can be better. And yeah,
Yeah.
I did love that. I love that Pike knew that too.
Oh yeah.
No, he's like, I know how many times and how many times it's gone wrong,
Yeah.
and
And
I'm giving you another chance.
giving another chance. And that also speaks, and again, to the generosity and talent of every single actor on that show. Anson Mount is just incredible. His generosity in that space,
Mhm.
and of course, Rebecca Romaine. I love me some Rebecca. Adore Rebecca. It was
Yeah.
just what an incredible tennis partner, right?
Hmm.
And and Melanie, oh my gosh, I could not get enough of
Yeah.
Melanie. I adore that woman. And I remember that was one of the moments that felt also very Measure of a Man, right? The whole idea of like, okay, but why would Battelle do this? Like, well, remember Riker had to do it for Data,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or else they were just gonna, throw out the case and Data would
Yeah.
have been deemed property.
Yep.
And it just, I felt her character so much mirrored Riker
Yeah.
in that episode.
Hmm.
And all that, but it's just again just a testament to the talent of that entire
Mm,
group of individuals, how well that story just came together and gelled.
Hmm.
yes.
Well,
Agreed.
agreed. And the writers and everybody, the fact that they were able to, you were able, your character was able to, and Allyson, she kind of beat me to what I was going to say was how you literally, and this goes to today,
Mm,
that how, at the time, Captain April of the
mm,
Enterprise,
mhm.
he pick and chose when he was going to follow the prime direct, which every single starship captain has, you
Right,
know,
right.
and but you point out, well, on this star date you did that, on this star
Mm,
date you did this, you broke the prime directive here, you broke the prime directive there, and then and I did like his rebuttal, but he's
mm,
like, captains have to make these decisions out in the field, and so it's their
right.
prerogative, but still, I mean, I'm sitting there looking at it like, personally, with just
Mm,
just with what your character said in that stuff, I'm like, it should be like case over, like done
mm.
case, fine for for the defendant, not guilty, because truly it, and somebody else, actually it was John Billingsley, when
Yeah.
he's one of my first ones I ever interviewed, and I mentioned the prime directive, and he doesn't really care for the prime directive. He goes, the prime
Mhm.
directive works when they need it to work.
When needed to it. Actually, see, I almost thought that was like the name of a new show, like Star Trek Prime Directive. Because how many times have they done some messed up stuff when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes to this Prime Directive? Like, how many episodes can you point to
Oh,
where
Oh,
tons.
my favorite is Who Watches the Watchers. Like, come on. Like, we can't just go make duck blinds and go watch a primitive society, or a society we consider primitive
Hmm.
let's
because they don't
right,
have our technological advances,
right.
and just watch them. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
And use our technology to like be behind a force field that looks like a rock, because one, that can fail and that can
Yeah.
damage their society.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that one, I will say that one like every time. I'm like, no, like I understand how
Hello.
you would want to study it, but we got to find better ways to do it than
Exactly. I mean, we had an
hiding
entire
behind a tarp watching people.
yeah,
Like,
we had an entire movie,
Yeah.
yes,
a 2 hour
Insert.
episode called Insurrection,
yep,
Mm.
where
that is
Data's
that.
walking around in a suit that fails, and now well, luckily I mean, that one
He
worked
didn't
out.
fail. He took it off because he
Well,
was
it took it
going
off
crazy.
because he was going crazy. But again, yeah, I don't want to get too far off of it, but still, you're right. We were literally going against their own rules when
Mhm.
they saw fit.
Mhm.
So it's just they I used to not think about that like the prime directive, but it was truthfully when John made that comment to me
Yeah.
about, like, because we were talking about the episode that I actually thought was one of the best Enterprise episodes, which is Dear Doctor. And
Oh.
in my mind, he was following the prime directive, not
Mm.
interfering. Well, they didn't exist, but he didn't want to play God, because that's what the Vulcans had said, told Archer, look how long we've been here on Earth,
Mm.
100 years.
Mhm.
And he has to make that decision that, he's not going to play God. Well,
Mm.
John, in our interview, he actually felt like, and I don't really agree, but still, he said he felt like he committed genocide. And I'm like,
Oh.
Because he
because
did save. Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
save these people, and he had
Mm.
the ability to do that. And I'm like, well, but I kind of have to loop it back, John. If you do
Mhm.
this, you are kind of playing, in my opinion, I feel like you are kind of playing like a god, that because you're technology.
Right. But that's the thing, and that's, what I love about this world is that I think it understands that you have to continually question, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how you may have set something, or whatever might have been the precedent, that every single moment,
Mhm.
I mean, you're literally watching evolution on worlds. You are part of this evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And every moment you need to be examining your foundations and how you're moving forward. Because as much as we joke and we make fun of the Prime Directive, it actually points to how human we are, that situations continuously change. And we have to continuously be taking in new information on how to deal with those new moments.
Yes.
I mean, I
So
say human, I mean humanoid, or you know what?
yeah,
I'm not even going to say that. I'll just say we are living beings. There we go.
Yes, that's a good one.
we are living individuals
Mm-hmm.
who all want the same thing:
Yeah.
to be loved, to be safe, to be
Mm-hmm.
fed, and do things that we're interested in and are excited about. Now, those
Mm-hmm.
are all going to be different, but I like Una's speech about how she wasn't safe where she
Mm,
was as a child,
yeah.
and it is very powerful because she wanted something better for herself and she knew where to go get it. So she
Mm-hmm.
went and got it. And that
Mm,
is beautiful and brave.
yeah.
And so getting that backstory for her is wonderful.
Yeah.
And the way your character, again, the writers, every single thing your character did in that episode was leading to that final speech that you
Yeah.
had where you asked for asylum, or,
Mm,
or you told them she's been asking for asylum this whole time,
mm,
and
mhm,
this is what they're doing, what you're doing. And when I think I mean, again, that's where all the tears come, but I really, this last watch through, I really appreciated how the writers used the way your character interrogated April in the beginning and then use that as your confirmation at the end. Like,
mm,
here we go. And
mhm,
also the when you said you agreed with Admiral Assault that yes, this is a matter of law and
mm,
this is what we should be looking at, and you now have to pick which law you're going to choose
Yep.
mm,
to enforce in this, and you should choose the one that brings you to your better self. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, just this one. Your delivery of this wonderful amount of words is perfect, I want to say,
Thank
just so
you.
you know.
You're very kind. It was interesting too. There were a couple of people that were like, "You felt that a little bit, didn't you?"
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I felt every single word. I mean, even even in a space where we say we're doing better,
Mhm.
there's still quite a few cracks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you experience a lot. Not to, make it, but you experience a lot, and you see a lot of people going through things that they shouldn't have to go through. Um, and it is such a gift when you are handed something that lets you speak to all of those thoughts and feelings and fears and angers and joys that all live inside, from experience. Um, it truly has been a gift, and it was wonderful for it to resonate with people, and for people to understand that, yeah, every word was important to me. I wasn't gonna let those go lightly. I was gonna dive into the work that was shared with me.
Well, you knocked it out of the park.
Thank
Um,
you.
and as we're talking, it's something, I keep on looking at this picture and this. So as you can see, I'm gonna have to back up here for a second, but you know, you're saying on your shirt, you know, if not now, then when? Okay.
Yeah.
It makes, again, after watching this episode, it resonates a lot, a
Mm,
lot. And I'd like to know, honestly, what was your driving force behind doing this, by making
mm,
this?
mm. Well, first off, our lovely friend Raymond,
Yes.
who does such incredible work and shares this amazing merchandise. Um, and he also has a friend named Frankie, who's this fantastic, fantastic individual who has lived through many an era.
Mm,
And, we're spending time and just talking about all the things that, if you can imagine, she's seen and she's been through the ages. And also in what I've shared here of the many experiences that I've lived through, not to make it a whole long story about that.
hmm
Um, and just very much feeling strongly. And Frankie said this. She said, if not now, then when? You know? And we all just kind of had this moment of, I mean, it's been said and it's been shared, but we talk about things that resonate so deeply right now.
Mhm.
And there's something happening right now. And there's something being asked of us right now to answer that question of what is your bond with humanity?
hmm
What is your belief in humanity? What do you want to see of humanity? And that question being asked of us is, speaking to that. And literally, if not now, then when?
Yeah. Well, I could have seen your character in at some point saying this in that episode
In the
to those
episode,
judges. If not now,
right?
when are we going to fix this injustice? When are we going to
Mm.
make this
Yeah,
avail? When are we going to make this okay for
yeah,
her to be here?
yeah, exactly. And thank you for modeling the shirt so beautifully.
Yes, and we will. I'll actually get a much better picture when we finish the editing. Will be a nice, clean picture of the shirts and a link. We'll obviously put how they can get to it. And so I have a question for all of us, and I used to ask this question when I first started this podcast, this channel. But I stopped asking it, mainly because unfortunately it can get kind of dark. Um,
All right.
but because of what we're talking about tonight, I'm okay with asking this again. Um, and I actually remember talking about this about a year ago at the Trek to Dallas convention. And this is where it gets dark. Is, do you think we will ever see Gene's vision of the
Hmm.
future? And the reason why I say it gets dark, because if you see his vision, the
Mm.
stuff that we have to go through
Yeah.
to get to what he was envisioning is the
Mhm.
dark part of it.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Um, I
And
mean,
I've
I don't jump ahead if you.
Oh no, no,
well,
please,
and
please.
what I was going to say, and I'm going to use one more thing. And this is a discussion we had in one of our rooms is, um, are we going to have a hard reset?
Hmm. Okay. I mean, both those questions, though, I'm highly optimistic.
I am
You
too.
right, right, and I think it depends on us whether we have to have a hard reset
hmm
or if we have to go through something darker.
Yeah.
It also and it depends on us in a way that we can avoid going any darker
Yeah.
and say we've already done the worst of the stuff and we've learned from it.
Yeah.
But it's that thing, right, where whether it's an illness or something that you get like a little warning tickle in the back of your throat, trying to tell you you're
hmm
sick, and I'll be fine. And then you start to feel a little tired and you're like, I'll be fine. And then before you know it, you're like, passed out on the bed and whichever. But if you had paid attention to that first tickle
hmm
and remedied it,
hmm
then you wouldn't have had to go to the point of passing out.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And I think that's the same for our, for Gene's vision of the future. I think if we start making those shifts now, if we
Mm-hmm.
start paying attention, then we can say, can you imagine if we can now say in a year that, the past year was the darkest we'd ever seen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is so possible for us. And it's part of the reason why I also think it's important what stories we're telling.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's fine to have, yes, some dystopian visions and whichever to watch, and that's fine. But if that's all we're seeing of the future, that kind of feedback cannot be good for us.
Yeah.
Like it's a constant loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see a
Yeah.
bad future, we enact it. We see a bad future, we enact it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Gene's vision was one of the first ones where he said, "No, we're doing okay. We're hopeful." Like I have a hard time thinking of many others that even have a future like that.
If
Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
I'm thinking if you think of every not how not going to say every, but if you look at a lot of sci-fi that
Yeah,
shows the future, I
yeah.
mean, look at Blade Runner.
Oh, that's
It's
dark.
That's dark.
it's literally like they
Literally.
got
It is dark.
Also,
black.
cinematography.
The cinematography, but Tron and all these shows that we look at in the future,
Mhm.
they we're not any better, really.
Oh,
We have this,
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, no,
yeah,
that one's still super dark.
yeah,
I enjoyed
and
it. I would say Stargate, but Stargate is like our time and it's trying to be better, but
yeah,
it's
Yeah,
not particularly future.
yeah.
yeah,
I think you're right. I really think
No, it's
that Gene may have been. He's probably one of the few of, if not the. I don't want to say the only one because there's a lot out there, but I would say of he's the only one that has a series that has lasted 60 years, and that
right,
there's still all of us are still talking about it today.
right.
And he at least tried to let us see, you know, we can be better. And
Yeah,
like you said, I personally hope we don't have to have the, the World War III type scenario,
right.
and we see Zephyr Cochrane out there and having to go through all that.
Mm,
And I'm asked, and this is when I was still asking this question,
mm,
I think one of the last times was probably Sean Fair, to be honest with you,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we talked about this and we actually talked about, we made a comment. I said, but if we didn't reset with COVID,
mm,
then what's it going to take? Because
mm,
that was and I'd have to watch that episode because we did. I think I left it in. I'm trying to remember now because again, we started getting a little
right.
in the weeds there, and I was like, ugh. But again, because that's what we're talking about tonight, the utopian side gene, all this
Yeah,
stuff. We should have that. Hopefully, I mean, you would think that would have been close enough for us to
right.
potentially. Anyway, I don't want to get.
Well, I also think who was it that said it's impossible until it isn't? And there
Mhm.
have been certain things in our culture that we've almost forgot that didn't used to be a certain way, and
Mhm.
then they flipped
Yeah.
one day. And it took however much it did, but it flipped. And I only bring that up again to say that there's again that positive possibility
Yeah.
it could just flip. But one way I think we can help ourselves is tell ourselves more positive stories of our
True.
future.
Yeah.
Give ourselves a little,
Yeah.
just a little run in there,
Hmm. Well, and that's where he Roddenberry was getting us to. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
let's just as I'm hoping, and I keep on talking, but I just like my thing is I just hope that we don't have to have it, and like you just said, someday, and it may not be in either any of our lifetime, but still someday that we're just going to flip that switch and be like, that's stupid. Why are we doing this?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
let's just no, let's just be smart about this. And I know, again, like this is not a topic that we usually go into, but it's one that needs to be. And when Raymond and I were talking about this, I was like, we got to talk about this. I'm like, I'm glad he let me know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to do this because it's the world today, unfortunately,
Yeah.
that we're in. Um, yeah. So, um, Oh,
Did
And
he
I
Shelter.
tell
just
you?
think it's all the power of story, because I don't want a hard reset. I don't want to deal with World War III and eugenics wars. Like, that's all hard. But I think the more of us who are open and share our stories, because for so long we've been told or raised to, don't talk about the hard things. Like, well, we need to talk about the
Yeah.
hard things because other people have hard things, and
Mhm.
we can grow and learn from each other's hard things together. And the
Yeah.
more we realize we're the same or similar, the
Yeah.
less those hard times are divisive. And I
Right.
think if we can come together, as the Beatles would say, and and realize that, we're all just individuals who want to, be loved, to
Yeah.
love their family, hang out
Mhm.
with their friends, and we all want the same things, at a core level. That none of that is scary when it's from somebody I've never met, or
Mhm.
from a civilization, not a civil. I mean, that's Star Trek, civilization I've never been to. There are countries I've never been to, many of them.
Yeah.
I'm curious about their culture, and I don't find that scary that their culture is different than mine. you know
Mm.
but the more people who realize that, well, they all still sit around the dinner table and talk about their family and their life at work and want the best for their children.
Yeah.
I think the more we talk about that, the more
Mhm.
we'll come together and realize that, we're not that different. We've had different life experiences, but we all want the same things in the
Yeah.
end.
Right, right. I think did Raymond tell you we watched the full the extended version of Measure of a Man.
Yeah, he
Yes.
made a comment. I don't think I knew there was an extended
Oh yeah.
version.
I thought I knew quite a bit about the
Yeah.
world, but you pulled that out. My mind was blown, and just reminded again because it was just so beautifully put together. The
Mhm.
thought of fighting an issue, fighting a problem, not each other. There's so much so by the end, even the guy that's the quote unquote bad guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's not a bad guy. He had an agenda. He kept following it. He had his insecurities and his issues. And even Data got him thinking in
Yeah.
a
Yes.
whole new way. And I thought, this is brilliant. I mean, how many times do you see that kind of ending now? Where,
Yes.
where,
No, I do. I love that Dr. Maddox
yeah,
asks Data at the end, can I write you? Like,
yeah,
can we be friends? And Data's
Friends.
like, of course. I The first time I got to see the extended version of Measure of a Man was at
yeah.
a local movie theater here in Santa Fe, because Melinda Snodgrass lives here, the
Oh,
writer of the episode.
Oh.
yes.
And her best friend is George R. R. Martin, who owns this particular movie theater. So he had her come talk about it, show it. It was free to the first 100 people who showed up.
Wow.
Oh,
And
wow.
we got to listen to what she went through, because this is her first TV writing credit.
Mm.
Really?
And she's
Really? Measure of a Man was her first Stephen.
is her first TV writing credit. She is a lawyer,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
she has that background, and she's written novels, but this was her first TV show. And
Wow.
George R. R. Martin, I don't. It's so funny because she name drops him all the time whenever you see her. She's like, my friend George. I'm just like, yeah.
Listen, I would too. I would too.
Mhm.
It really pressured her, because she was a Star Trek fan, to write an episode, because that's, when they were, you can mail in scripts.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
that's how she became a staff writer, is by sending this one in. But, sitting in the room with her while she's talking about this was her process. And it was really cool, because that's like the first thing. I had been out of the Star Trek fandom for a while.
Yeah.
And this happened, and I'm just like, I want to go see this. Like, I drug my husband, I drug my best friend. Like, we're going to this because I love Star Trek, and you guys do everything with me. So come on. And so I got to be in the room with the writer talking about her process and, what she went through. And the only reason this episode happened was because Gene was sick. He didn't want to have lawyers in Star Trek, in Next Generation. He wanted them to be past that. But she's like, but I don't think we are. And so
No.
she had this episode that she really, really wanted. And the writers wanted it, the staff writers. But Gene is like, no, 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 we're past having lawyers in the future. She's like,
No.
and I think she was right. And the rest of the staff, I'm like, I don't think we'll ever be past needing to fight for each other.
No, I don't think so
I think
either.
that's what lawyers do. They help people fight for each other. On some, are there some that are fighting for companies? Sure. But in sci-fi, in Star Trek, that's what these lawyers are shown to do. And so I think that's really great.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that thing that you constantly will need to question, whether it's laws or mores or whichever, you're going to have to constantly question.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's called a lawyer or it's called something else, there's got to be something in society that's examining the society as it moves forward. But yeah, but I did not know that about Measure a Man, and that is literally one of my favorite episodes. It's that and oh my gosh, something light.
Oh, Inner Light?
Inner Light.
Inner Light? Yes.
Those two are like my top two Star Trek episodes of all time. I'm a huge, huge fan of those places. So I'm going to have to visit this theater or this space.
Come to Santa Fe and I will show you the Jean Cocteau Theater. It's, named after Jean Cocteau, the French director. It's been around forever. I got to see the Frida Kahlo movie there.
Wow.
There she is.
Speaking of Frida. And yeah, it's a great little theater. And
you got so
George
much
does
culture
all sorts
out there.
of fun things that he does for free. He's like, come see this for free. First 100 people walk through the door. Like multiple times Game of Thrones episodes were premiered. And he's like, all right, come through the door. It's like, okay, line up. Like midnight releases back when you had to line up to buy tickets and get your seat. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's a lot of fun. Santa Fe is a great place to be.
Oh, now I may have to now I may have to drive out there instead of fly to Vegas for STLV next year.
I'm going to make a really funny plug for, I think it's Sharknado 4. George is in it and they show the Jean Cocteau.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I do have to say, those are always one of my favorite. I really think they should hand an Oscar to any of the actors that are supposed to be describing the science of the moment that are like, and this is the reason why sharks are in a tornado. I'm like, listen, just give them an Oscar.
Yes. For just being willing to do that, give them the Oscar.
Impressive. It's really impressive. I love those. They're so much fun.
They are a ton of fun. I mean, and the Tremors movies, I also are another one of those. Michael Gross lives in Santa Fe, and they've started doing Tremors weekends at one of our local theaters, and he'll come out and he'll talk to us about them.
Oh my gosh.
Also great.
I mean, they need to give you royalties now because you've sold a whole bunch of people.
Really?
I know. Come to Santa Fe.
Come to Santa Fe.
We have a film festival. We tried to get the Aspen Film Festival, but we didn't have enough infrastructure, so we didn't get them. But we have our own.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to give you the last question that I always ask everybody.
All right.
And it is, what Star Trek technology do you wish existed today?
Oof.
That's a tough one.
Okay, can I turn this question around a little bit?
Sure.
He's like, okay. No, I actually think, and I think it would be very interesting for a lot of people that are developing AI to maybe take a look at Star Trek and the way that, ship's computer works and that kind of stuff. In how they're developing this technology as we go forward now.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Star Trek continually does, it does give us a good template for
Yeah.
a more positive future.
Mhm.
And I think as we're barreling, face forward into this new era,
Hmm.
that we might want to look to some more positive examples of how to develop this moving forward.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
I really do.
Agreed.
That's good. I like that one. I
Oh,
hadn't thought
thank you.
about that. Maybe we need to look more at how we're developing our technology and weave it a little bit more the way they did at times. Hmm.
Push a little bit more Star Trek in our technology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I like it. That was a great answer. Best
Thank
one so
you.
far. So, all right. Well, Yetide, thank you for coming on and
Yes.
giving us your time today to talk. I enjoyed this discussion tonight. It was fun and very, very eye opening. And it needed to be done.
Yes,
It
and
really needed to be done.
thank you both and thank you for recognizing that, for seeing that, and for making space for that. I really appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome. All right. Well, everyone, we will talk to you later and have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Transporter Room. For just $5 per month, enjoy ad-free access to this episode and all previous ones, plus exclusive bonus content. Sign up now on Patreon.